Hello and welcome to Loosening Captives channel, where we discuss all things having to do with deliverance and inner healing. Today's topic is freedom from spiritual slavery. No culture in the world has been spared the impacts of slavery. Empires and powerful nations have long made use of slaves, which is especially true in the Americas. Prior to African and Irish people being brought to the United States, slavery had already manifested among the American Indians in the United States. Slavery has been part of the human experience from time immemorial, and its consequences are still being felt by many people today. So let us take a moment to focus on the African American populations of the United States. Most of them are still living with the same limitations that were imposed on them by the institution of slavery. Slaves were not only deprived of the right to own a home, receive an education, or start their own businesses. Their families were torn apart by separation, and the women were trained to rely on the slave master for provision and protection. Before they were sold in a port in Africa, they were subjected to a witch doctor's incantation that made them forget their past and their identity. When they came to the Americas, they adopted the identity given to them by their masters. These are just some of the atrocities that these slaves had to endure. On January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln officially abolished the buying and selling of slaves by issuing the Emancipation Proclamation. Unfortunately, this proclamation did nothing to address the legal bills of sale prior to that date. This is why many African Americans still feel as though they are still enslaved. The actions taken in our physical world, whether good or bad, have repercussions in the spirit realm and vice versa. The failure to address the legal bill of sale that was in effect before January 1st, 1863, allows the enemy of man's soul, Satan, to maintain bondage upon the descendants of slaves until this day. As I stated before, all cultures of the world have been affected by slavery in some way. Therefore, no matter one's culture or background, the issue of slavery, whether one's ancestors were slaves or slave owners, must be addressed spiritually. Other potential hindrances in life are often addressed in Christian deliverance sessions, but the issue of slavery is rarely, if ever, addressed. If you have suffered any or most of the following issues, it's highly likely that you are still under spiritual bondage to the shackles of slavery and they need to be broken. If you can say, I struggle to get promoted at work, I can't start or constantly fail at business, I struggle to get an education, fatherless children are part of my bloodline, I feel forced to always work for someone else, I struggle with a sense of self-worth, I struggle with my identity, I can't get ahead, I struggle with getting a home, I have illogical fear of people taking things from me, I have illogical fear of being raped or beaten, no one marries or stays married in my family. The good news is that we can go back in time and cancel any outstanding bills of sale, ownership claims, and curses associated with slavery in the courts of heaven. The Lord Jesus Christ died and rose again so that we can experience true freedom in every aspect of our lives. See Galatians 5:1. If you had any ancestors who were either slaves or slave owners, I want you to recite the following prayer of deliverance out loud. I ask my soul and body to rest and step back, and I ask my spirit to come forward as I step into the heavenly realms through Jesus Christ. Father, in the name of Jesus, I request access to the court of titles and deeds. Just judge, I come on behalf of my ancestors who were slaves, and I request that all the bills of sale of my ancestors be brought forward in the name of Jesus. Now extend your hands and receive it. Just judge, I present this paperwork to you, and I ask that the blood of Jesus will satisfy all these bills of sale. Cancel every ownership claim, every curse, and bring me and my lineage freedom from this slavery in the name of Jesus. By an act of my will, I choose to forgive, bless, and release slave owners, their families, spouses, foremen, overseers, in Jesus' name. Just judge, I repent for my ancestors cursing the slave owner, their family, plantation, and animals. Forgive us for placing those curses upon them and their lineage. I ask that excuse me, that they be released from every curse. I forgive, bless, and release them in Jesus' name. I also forgive, bless, and release those dominating tribes who kidnapped my ancestors and sold them into slavery. I ask forgiveness for hatred of other races or ethnic groups because of what they did to my ancestors. I choose to forgive them in Jesus' name. Just judge, I ask that every outstanding ownership claim or lien against me and my lineage due to slavery be released to you, Lord of hosts. You are my rightful owner, and I am your bond slave in Jesus' name. I request that you grant me and my lineage a new title of ownership for both my father and my mother's side, in Jesus' name. Where my ancestors and their land were claimed by the Catholic Church or King of or Queen of Spain, I request a new title of ownership with you being the owner. I forgive, bless, and release them of their wrongdoing in this matter in Jesus' name. Just judge, I ask in Jesus' name that I and my future generations be released from the bondage of slavery today, today's date. Just judge, I request a certificate of freedom in the name of Jesus. Now extend your hand and receive the certificate and place it into your heart. In the name of Jesus, I request a restoration of identity as your son, and that whatever was stolen from my lineage be replaced with the identity that you have for us. Now stand up and do this following prophetic act. Just judge, I request angelic assistance to come as I remove the shackles from off my neck, wrists, waist, ankles, chastity belt, and I give it to them for the destruction. In the name of Jesus. I request complete release of my realms in Jesus' name. Just judge, I call my angels to come near, and I request that if any of my angels are enslaved because of my own slavery, that other angels come and set them free. I request that any blinders placed over my eyes that made me tolerate the life of bondage that I've been living be removed in the name of Jesus. Just judge, I request healing of all trauma to my body, soul, spirit, down to my DNA. And I receive wholeness now according to Isaiah 53, verse 5. I request the amendment, quote, as if it never were, and the amendment, quote, of the sword of the Spirit, in Jesus' name. Now I request access to the court of reclamation in Jesus' name. Now ask the court of reclamations what you should ask for. For example, just judge, I reclaim for me and my generations lands that were stolen from my slave ancestors. I reclaim businesses, opportunities, homes, education, careers, giftings, inheritances, identity, honor, validation, etc. Now, for those of you with Irish ancestors, recite this out loud. Just Judge, I request the removal of any legally binding paperwork of indenture servitude. I request the removal of ownership, livelihood claims, and claims on the ability to make wealth upon me and my generations. Just Judge, I declare Deuteronomy 28:3 and 13 over myself and my generations. I am the head and not the tail. I am blessed in the city and blessed in the field. Now do a prophetic act and pull those blessings in. Pull them in. Just Judge, I request the satisfaction of every sharecropper lien by the blood of Jesus. I repent for my ancestors violating the agreement and cheating the owner, and I ask the blood of Jesus cleanse that sin. I forgive owners that cheated my ancestors. I bless and release them. Just Judge, let the court work done here today be applied to everyone related to me by blood, marriage, adoption, civil or religious covenant. Let it be applied all the way back and all the way forward as far as it needs to go. In Jesus' name. Just Judge, I forgive, bless, and release those who oppressed and tried to destroy my generations from the face of the earth. I request freedom from every hold or limitation that's been placed upon me and my generations in Jesus' name. Just Judge, I request that every form of taxation upon me and my generations be canceled in Jesus' name. I also request cancellation of all false verdicts and curses released by the slave owners upon the slaves. I forgive, bless, and release them. Let those false verdicts be replaced with righteous verdicts. Just Judge, I ask for the overturning of these false verdicts regarding satanic timelines. I ask that the claim of ownership by the enemy of my timeline be overturned. Let every satanic timeline superimposed be destroyed by God's holy fire. I call for the angels to come and stretch out my timeline according to my scroll of destiny and remove all the wrinkles from my timeline in Jesus' name. Now take a step forward into your new timeline, and I'll be posting this prayer underneath this video. I thank you for watching. I thank you for your likes, your comments, and for subscribing to my channel. Until the next video, bye-bye.